Thanks for everyone's patience. It is 7:06. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, on to our 5 principles of Cruiser PLC, please.
These are the 5 principles of our Cruiser professional learning community, our Cruiser PLC. They are: we focus on learning, we collaborate, we take responsibility, we ask for the results, we decide what to do next.
Thank you so much. On to roll call, please.
Mr. Kirschner?
Here.
Mrs. Dauterberger?
Here.
Mr. Bauer?
Here.
Ms. Gray?
Here.
And Ms. Walsh?
Here.
And Madam Vice President, do you mind doing the review of belief statement and board notes, please?
No, sir, I do not mind. We believe all cruisers are valuable. We will unconditionally serve, support, and inspire. Therefore, every cruiser will maximize their unique purpose, potential, and power to produce the results they want. Our board norms. As leaders of the district, we will always strive to support the mission and vision of the district, be prepared, informed, and ready for meetings, respect one another as elected representatives of the community, be open-minded, and recognize one another's strengths, the value of diverse perspectives, and mutual commitment to the mission and vision of the district. Allow members to complete their thoughts and statements before others comment. Allow members to be heard and listen to all perspectives with an open mind. Stay focused on the task at hand and respectfully redirect each other when needed. Maintain confidentiality and communicate per board policies. Ensure trust and transparency in all dealings. After a vote is cast, leave meetings united as one voice, no matter the outcome. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. On to adoption of the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Gray is first, Mrs. Dauterberger as second. On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh?
Aye.
Mrs. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Bauer?
Aye.
Mrs. Dauterberger?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner?
Motion passes. On to public participation. We have one form for public participation. I'm going to read something real quick and then we'll go to the public participation portion. All meetings of the board and board appointed committees are open to the public. In order for the Board of Education to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation may be permitted at each regular Board of Education meeting. Each person addressing the Board of Education shall give his or her name, address, phone number, organization represented, and pertinent background information. If several people wish to speak, each person is allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had an opportunity to do so. Persons desiring more time should submit their request in writing to the Board of Education office or email public.comment@gocruisers.org 7 days prior to the scheduled meeting. The period of public participation may be extended by a majority vote of the board members present and voting. Please remember that law prohibits discussion of specific employees or their job performance at a public meeting. State law does allow for discussions by board members regarding employees in executive sessions of the board. And if I could have Ms. Joy Bach come to the podium, please.
Good evening. My name is Joy Bach. I reside at 3882 Albany Chase, New Albany, Ohio, 43230. And I'm not giving my phone number. Popular enough already. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of GMLEA and also on behalf of OPSI. GMLEA is 452 members strong, and OPSI is
We have almost 200.
almost 200. So we make up the majority of the staff in this district when you consider we're roughly about 800 and some employees here. Before us tonight and before this district is a very important issue that affects each and every one of our students. It is bond issue 24. And we are here tonight for the first time ever in my 26 years here that both GMLEA and OPSI have come together unanimously to support this bond issue. which is a huge undertaking. We have worked tirelessly for weeks and weeks alongside administration, coming to events and activities, and we're here tonight to ask the board to please do the same. Please put aside your differences. Community, please put aside your differences. If you vote no on May 6th, you vote no against our students. You don't change the administration. You don't change who's on the board. If those things need to happen, that's down the road. But we need you to vote for our students. We need to bring our buildings up to modern day standards, safety and security reasons. Our students deserve the same 21st century learning situations and buildings that every other community around us has. Hamilton, Canal, Pickerington, and I can go on and on. Tays Valley, the list is endless. Groveport students and community deserve the same, and they deserve all of us, and I mean all of us, working together to achieve this goal. We hope that you too will come out and support our activities. If you'd like to know more about them, I'm happy to speak to you at any time. But thank you for your time and attention. Have a great evening.
Thank you. On to item E, recognitions and presentations.
Good evening, board. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our outstanding, awesome art scholars who helped us with the Best in Art show during the State of the Schools. And I'd also like to take time to recognize our art teachers. Let's hear it from both of them. First, I'd like to say that I want to apologize for Mr. Grube. He's not here. He's at home dealing with a family emergency. We miss him. And this is a really great, fun board meeting. And he is real sad that he can't make it. We love seeing the students and we love these recognitions, and he's going to miss it. But hey, I get to take advantage of it. So I'm going to start recognizing our cruisers and students who did a great job during our art show. And I just want to say that this is a great way for us to showcase, and we say this all the time, we have awesome, talented, wonderful students in our school district. And any way we can showcase that and let people see how talented they are. And these are some of the picks. You'll get the Mr. Grube superintendent's pick at the end, but these are some of the picks of best of the art show. But it was a really good art show. Okay, so how do we want to do this? We just call them up and stay up. So when we call you up, I'll hand you your certificate and we'll get a picture with the board and stay up here so you can be recognized. Come on. Yes, go ahead. Come on up. From Little Cruiser Campus, Kyler Knight. Woo! Okay, right off the bat, you can see why we love this. Right off the bat. From Asbury Elementary, Sage Kaiser. Oh, Sage. From Dunlow Elementary, Naomi Zacharias. Oh gosh, I love this. From Glendenning Elementary, Vivian Porras. From Groveport Elementary, Aaliyah Rampazard. From Madison Elementary, Abby Abel. She's got that handshake down. From Sedalia Elementary, Jacob McKee. Okay, this one's going to test me. From Middle School Central, Mattia Guillen Batista. How they do? Here you go. Here you go. Thank you. Oh, and he's been here before. From Middle School North, Joshua Tanner. From the high school, Lamaya Graves. From the Groveport Madison High School, Kenya Preston. From the Groveport Madison High School, Portia Yancey. Okay, this is the Superintendent's Choice Award. From Groveport Elementary, Abby Wee Tonesek. She couldn't make it. We'll make sure she gets her certificate. Okay. Yep, let's do a group photo. Parents can come up and take pictures also. Not that I was going to keep you from doing it. Say cruisers, cheese, SpongeBob. Congratulations. Now we want to recognize our outstanding art teachers, and it's with gratitude for your dedication and creativity in making the district art show a shining success. Your passion and your commitment to fostering artistic expression, inspiring our students, and enriching our community. Thank you for bringing art to life. From Asbury, Morgan Haas. From Dunlow, Megan Merritt. Bueller. From Glendenning, Rachel Blackmore. Blakemore, sorry. The one that's here, I messed up. Blakemore. Right, thank you. From Groveport Elementary, Danae Spurk. From Madison Elementary, Ashley Welch. From Sedalia Elementary, Dana Stetz. The hard ones are here. From Middle School Central, Nicole Rice. From Middle School North, Stephanie Smith Owasu. From Middle School South, Kelly Howley. From the Groveport Madison High School, Aaron Fenzel. From the Groveport Madison High School, Jeremy Miller. From the Groveport Madison High School, Mika Patterson. Yes. I can't mess up your And from the Groveport Madison High School, Megan Stoffermiller. Mika, maybe you can give your partners their certificates. We'll make sure they get it. We can do a group photo. Thank you. Congratulations.
Real quick,
Okay,
also,
good news. Oh,
I
sorry.
was just going to say, feel free if you would like to leave, you can leave. I know it's a school night, so thank you again.
Thank you for coming. Mr. Gruber's going to miss this. Okay, board, the superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison School Board adopt the resolution recognizing National Women's History Month and Irish American Heritage Month. We read the resolutions during the March 11th board meeting, and now we need to vote.
I so move.
Second.
I have Mr. Kirschner as first and Mrs. Dottelberger as second. On to roll call, please.
Mr. Kirschner,
Aye.
Mrs. Dotterberger,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
and Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, basketball team and cheerleaders, bear with me. We're going to get to you. We just have to get through this for a second. The superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison School Board adopt the resolutions recognizing Autism Awareness Month, Arab American Heritage Month, Community Service Month, National Deaf History Month, and a month of military child.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, I have Mr. Kirschner as first and Mrs. Gray as second.
Reading? Okay. The resolution of Groveport Madison School District recognizing April 2025 as Autism Acceptance Month. Whereas the month of April is globally recognized as Autism Acceptance Month, dedicated to increasing awareness, understanding, and acceptance of autism spectrum disorder. And whereas it is important to recognize and support individuals with autism by fostering a learning environment and community that embraces neurodiversity and promotes inclusivity. And whereas raising acceptance and awareness about autism is essential in promoting early diagnosis, intervention, and access to appropriate resources and support. And now, therefore, be resolved that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education recognize and support the importance of autism acceptance month of April and work to ensure that all individuals with autism have access to resources and supports they need to thrive. Resolution of Groveport Madison Schools recognizing April 2025 as Arab American Heritage Month. Whereas the Groveport Madison School recognizes the importance of fostering a diverse and inclusive learning environment that celebrates a rich culture heritage and contributes to all students and community members. And whereas Arab Americans have made significant valuable contributions to American society in various fields, including medicine, law, business, education, technology, the arts, government, military service, and community culture. And whereas we celebrate Arab Americans throughout the past and present and recognize their invaluable contributions to our country. It also serves as a time to combat Arab American anti-Arab bigotry and to challenge stereotypes and prejudice. And now, therefore, be resolved that the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education recognize the month of April as Arab American Heritage Month. Resolution of Groveport Madison School recognizing April 2025 as Community Service Month. Whereas the Groveport Madison Schools recognizes the importance of civic engagement and community involvement in fostering a strong and vibrant community. And whereas April is designated as Community Service Month, a time to acknowledge and celebrate community service and a time to highlight service and volunteerism on our community. And whereas the school district believes the community service provides valuable opportunities for students to learn, grow, and make positive impacts on the world. And whereas the school district is committed to promoting a culture of service and leadership among its students, staff, and community members. Now, therefore, be resolved that Groveport Madison School District Board of Education recognize the month of April as Community Service Month. Resolution of Groveport Madison School recognizing April 2025 as National Deaf History Month. Whereas the purpose of National Deaf History Month is to increase awareness of and express appreciation for the many contributions that deaf and hard of hearing individuals have made in our society. And whereas, according to the 2021 American Community Survey, about 3.6% of the United States population and about 11 million individuals consider themselves deaf or have serious difficulty hearing. And whereas the deaf and hard of hearing individuals have made continuous and made and I'm sorry, deaf and hard of hearing individuals have made and continue to make numerous contributions to the United States. Whereas the American School for Deaf opened in Hartford, Connecticut in April 15th, 1817, as the first public school for the deaf in the United States. And whereas Gallaudet University was founded on April 8th, 1864, when President Lincoln signed a charter establishing the first college for the deaf in the world. And on March 13th, 1988, Gallaudet University selected its first deaf university president. And whereas the Board of Education supports the goals and ideals of National Deaf History Month and recognizes that many contributions that deaf and hard of hearing individuals have made in our country. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education recognize the month of April as National Deaf History Month. Resolution of Groveport Madison Schools recognizes April 2025 as the month of the military child. Whereas the children of military families face unique challenges and opportunities and demonstrate remarkable resilience in adapting to frequent moves, changes in school, and supporting their families' service to our nation. And whereas the Groveport Madison School District is committed to creating a supportive and inclusive environment for all students, including those from military families. And whereas the month of April is designated as Month of the Military Child to honor the sacrifices and contributions of these children. And whereas Groveport Madison School is proud to stand in solidarity with the military community and to recognize the unique needs and experiences of children of military families. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education recognize April as the month of military child. Thank you.
Right, on to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh?
Aye.
Mrs. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Bauer?
Aye.
Mr. Dunneberg?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner? Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm having fun. Mr. Group missed that one. Oh, can I see your? Okay, now I'd like to recognize our boys basketball team. And Coach Hampton, would you mind coming up here? Our the Groveport Madison High School varsity boys basketball team had a heck of a season. And we want to take the opportunity, the board wants to recognize and celebrate you and honor our varsity basketball team. So I'd like to introduce Lamont Hampton. He's our head coach. Coley Adabanjo. Okay. Sean Moss. He's a good-looking guy in the pink shirt. William Wagner, is he here? Okay. Oh, Jason Campbell. These are our coaches. Thank you, gentlemen. there's more. Our basketball team won the district champs, and that hasn't been done in 40 years. They went to the Elite Eight. That hasn't happened in 90 years. And they were the regional runners up, and that hasn't happened in 90 years. I don't want to steal Coach Hampton's thunder, but that's all right if you want to clap for yourself. I do want you to know we had so much fun watching you guys, and we were right there. The whole community was right behind you. It was amazing to see this whole community come together for you guys. And you guys came together for each other, and you did it back for the community. And we can't thank you enough. But there were some other outstanding awards I want to recognize. The Iguanas Club awarded Kamar Keys as Player of the Year. Kamar. Yeah. Ohio High School Scholar athlete Troy Hines Jr. The Max Sims Award, that's a big award. Max Sims Award, Tyreek Ruffin. OCC first team, Tyreek Ruffin. Second team, Kamar. Second team, Sir Cox. Oh, Sir Cox isn't here. All district, Tyreek Ruffin. Okay. Coach Hampton, I'd like for you to introduce your boys.
Okay.
Your men. You don't need this.
Nope. First, I'm gonna call my coaches up. My varsity assistant, Sean Moss. JV head coach, varsity assistant, Coley Banjo. Varsity assistant, Jason Campbell, Joshua Campbell. Scholar athlete. This guy got scholar athlete, Justice Jackson. She's a senior. Got accepted. Justice was accepted to Cincinnati University too, academics. Jaquan Ingram. He's a senior. He's been at, got a full ride to Tiffin University for football. Joshua Moore, another senior. He's going on a full ride to football for a hot Dominican as well. Jeremiah Moore, the other twin. He's also going to Tiffin University on a full ride for football. Tro Glenn, he's a junior. He'll be back. Great student. Melvin Shepard, he's the freshman. He's the baby of the group. He's going to be really special. 3.5 GPA. It's going to be really good for us next year. I do want to recognize Sir Cox. He's not here today. Ryan A. Wilson had an emergency. Somebody was in a car accident. They're fine, but they're at the hospital. Troy Hines, where's Troy go? He already up there? Yep. That's my son, by the way, Troy Hines. Hi, Troy. Camden Slaughter as well. He's not here. He had a family emergency as well. Am I forgetting anybody, Coach? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kofi Cadolo's not here as well, and Jordan Wagner. He's also a freshman.
That's it. All right. Can we have the board come up for a photo? I'll tell you what, I feel small. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I wanna give a huge shout out to the board members and the DSC, the principals, the community. They were all so supportive, and it was amazing. Our kids had a great ride. Also, want to thank Mr. Snyder back there, humbly back there smiling. He was awesome for us as well.
Hey, Coach, stick around for the cheerleaders. Hey, no pressure, but I told him we're doing this again next year. We can't wait another 90 years. Okay, now I'd like to recognize the Groveport Madison High School cheerleaders. Miss Hubner, Coach Hubner, you want to come up? Where's she? Blending in. Before we get started, I want to take a minute to recognize that Coach Hubner received the Lifetime Coach of the Year award. And all year, and I think it started last year, I kept saying, you got a dynasty. You starting a dynasty. And then you get the Lifetime Coach of the Year. That's awesome. So your team wrote something about you. I'd like to read it. Okay. A Merit Cheer awarded Groveport Madison High School cheerleading coach Corinna Hubner the Lifetime Coach of the Year award. Coach Hubner epitomizes genuine commitment. She doesn't just lead her athletes, she nurtures and supports them, helping them become their best. Her commitment extends beyond the cheerleading mat, whether creating senior banners, assisting in concession, and ensuring her athletes have the gear they need, she's always there. Her cheerleaders see her as family, no matter how busy or tired she is. Coach Hubner, concern for her team will never end. She treats her athletes like her own, supporting them while instilling values like hard work, responsibility, and gratitude. She monitors their grades and connects them with tutors if they need it, and is the most significant cheerleader in their life. Krenna, your influence is boundless. Your athletes admire and respect you deeply. Seeing you and their mentor and inspiration, we appreciate you and your remarkable impact on those around you. Congratulations, Krenna. You deserve the Lifetime Coach of the Year award. Okay, now I want to recognize the cheerleaders and her assistant coaches. You want to call your assistant coaches up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Lexi Lindick, she is not wasn't able to make it this evening. She was a huge. She is the reason. She is the reason that this comp team and these girls are so amazing. She is the most talented, amazing coach that I could have ever been blessed with. With the competition, she's an alumni cheerleader. So not only did I get to coach her when I was 12, um, but now she's come back and she is just blessing us with her amazing talent. And I'm sad that she wasn't able to make it, but Lexi Lindick, I'm very grateful for. Next, I have Ronnie Laporte. She has been. I mean, let's be honest. If you see me, you see her. We're we're attached. We've been attached for 15 years at this job, longer with the kids. Yes. So if you see me, you'll see her. Also, Nicola Dare. She is also my side. I am very, 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 very lucky with the people that I have surrounded myself with. They have stood by me. They fight for me. They fight with me, and they fight for these kids. So that is something that I am very, very grateful for. So you can only be a good coach if you surround yourself with better. So I am grateful.
Okay. I'd like you to call the girls up,
Okay.
introduce them, and tell them what we're doing here.
Okay. So the girls, I don't know if you want to tell them all the things that they've won.
Oh, I was going to do that when we get up here.
Okay.
Okay.
I will call the girls up. We're going to we'll recognize them for all their awards they've gotten this year, but we are also presenting them with their national title rings from Americheer. They won 3 national titles this season, so they earned their gold rings. So the girls will be getting those, and Paul will be distributing those. So first up, my seniors, Chrissy Ogletree. Mayana Yancey. My other senior. My seniors graduating are going to put a big dent in my program, so I'm pretty sad. Portia Yancey. Kennedy Hill.
There you go. You guys see it up here. Go have it in front of the board.
And Olivia Tanner. AKA, she calls herself the queen. So if you guys see her, you know. We have Frances Way, Olivia Williams, and oh my gosh, I'm bringing laps. And Michaela Jones. She is a freshman. They either on track or had theater or some other commitment with school. My girls are absolutely involved in everything, so they weren't able to make it this evening.
Okay, picture with the board. While they're getting a picture with the board, I want to tell you some of the things that they accomplished. 1, it was a heck of a football season. 2, great basketball season. 1 for a generation. They were first in the Winter Nationals, first in Buckeye Nationals, first in March Madness, best in state. They got 3rd place, and they went to Orlando for the international cheerleading competition at Universal Park, and they got 2nd place, but it was by 0.6 of a point. So congratulations. Thank you. Great job. So proud of you guys.
I'm very proud.
Okay, if you want to leave after that wonderful ceremony, I do before anything. Tommy Snyder is the athletic director. He works tirelessly. We love you, Tommy. Thank you.
All right. Before we move forward here, I'd like to make a motion for a 5-minute recess.
So moved.
Okay. I'm first, and then Mrs. Walsh is second. Roll call, please.
What happened? Oh, Mr. Kirshner's over there. Mrs. Dauterberger.
Aye.
Five-minute recess. We're doing roll call. Ms. Walsh,
Aye.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Studelberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirshner.
All right, 7:53. We will reconvene at 7:58. All right, it is 8:01 and we are back in session.
Okay, members of the board, I'd like to welcome our performing art teachers to come up for their presentation for the board. Please make sure you speak into the mic, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Absolutely. Okay. Hi, my name is Tiana Ninich. I am the middle school band director, or I am the middle school north band director. Do we want to just introduce ourselves now, or let's just do that.
All right. I am Katie Harmon. I am the middle school south band director. The middle school central band director, Caleb Miller, cannot be with us tonight. He has grad school commitments.
Hello, my name is Nolan Kelly. I am the high school choir director.
My name is Reed Robichaud. I'm the choir director at Middle School Central.
I am Jonathan Stewart. I'm the choir director at Middle School South.
Jonah Hertig is the director at the high school, and he also could not be here tonight, so we'll be speaking on his behalf as well. So first, I'd like to say thank you so much for asking us to be here. No one ever asked for our opinion, and I love giving it. So I'm really grateful to be here. So thank you. So I'm going to talk, we're kind of split it up. I'm going to just go over the middle school portion for the bands. So is this clicker? Does this work? Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, so just to go over some recruitment and retention, we saw an issue with recruitment because it was hard to reach students when we were recruiting them outside of school. We would do they're called instrument fittings, where they try out the instruments and they would get to play all of them and everything. And we had a okay success rate. Only about 15% of students would out of all the fifth graders would come out. So we decided to bring the fittings to them. And this year the change we made was that we actually decided to visit each elementary school and have every single fifth grader in the district try the instruments, which turned out to be a huge success. Our goal for it was about 20% growth. And so from our typical 90-ish students that we get, this year we have about 120 signups, which is amazing. So we're really excited for the band kids to get to do the thing. So and in addition to that, just to get our face out there, we visit the elementaries all throughout the year. We do caroling. You can actually see on the cute little pics there. We do caroling and we do concerts for them. We try to visit as often as possible just to bring music to the schools. And they seem to really enjoy that. Now, with regard to in terms of equity, is we also strive to make music accessible to everybody. So we stress in every message we send out, all of the packets, handouts, that finances are never an issue for students. And we have plenty of instruments that we provide for students, and we have the budgets to repair them and everything and purchase if needed. So we stress that is never a reason to not join bands. And I think that's really helped bring them in. In terms of raw numbers, the numbers are kind of small, you can see. But like I said, we started about 90 students this year. And the growth, like I said, we're about 120. But what's really impressive, as you can see, is that our retention rate is excellent. We have from 2022 to now, 90% of students have stayed in bands. So we're really, really proud of that number. And this is from 6th to 8th grade. So that's a big deal. And we're very grateful. And so with this growth, our hope is that in the 2028 school year, if we have 120 students joining now, that we would be able to send at least 90 of them over to the high school and help explode that program going forward. Okay, and then these are just some things we do that help retain the kids. They love the special activities. We really bring out 8th graders go to Kings Island. We do district-wide solo and ensemble festivals. And at all our concerts, we have nearly 100% attendance rate. So parents really enjoy seeing the music, and we make it, you know, at our at-home concerts, it often happens that it's standing room only. So that's like a really cool feeling to see that support. In addition, this is just a list of everything we do. We really make we take a lot of care into taking students off campus too and giving them experiences outside of the district. So, you know, we've taken them to the Ohio State Celebration concert, which is amazing. You know, college visit for them, and they get to see college performances. We've had students participate in middle school honor bands that are outside. That's like where the highest level students get to perform among other high level students in Ohio. And the list goes on and on. And we just on Saturday had 15 students perform at the Ohio Music Education Association solo and ensemble contest, where about all of them received either a superior outstanding rating, a 1 or a 2, and that's amazing. That's all the work that they've put in. So we really, really push the kids to get out into the community, and they seem to really enjoy it. So yeah. Now, here's just a couple of things that we've identified that we think are that could be, so we could use your help with. If so, starting with number 1 is scheduling. I see that we all see the value in the block scheduling, and we are cognizant of how that impacts other subjects. But what it's done is eliminate the second elective for students to be able to choose from. Therefore, they're not able to, they aren't less excited to be in band knowing that that takes away everything else. And that's so we're foreseeing a drop in numbers with that change. And that's really important to us. We have some suggestions, and I wrote them all out, but if that's something, we are not just coming here to tell you about problems. Some solutions we thought about is maybe proposing need-based blocks, shortening class periods to allow another class period, or eliminating focus. Whatever we can do to just add one more class for those kids, I think would make a huge difference. The other scheduling issue is that at Middle School Central, Middle School South, they have this what's called a heterogeneous 6th grade band, where every single 6th grader that is ever played an instrument is all together, and they are learning from square one how to put a flute together in the same room as how to put a trombone together. And that's like teaching 6 different subjects of math in one room at the same time for 40 minutes. So that poses to be a little bit of a issue when it comes to teaching them effectively, and retaining the kids can be difficult because they're feeling like the class is moving slow and they're not able to do as much with them. So we kind of have like a good, better, best idea, and like a good thing would try to maybe have a traveling or co-teaching model, which used to be a practice in the district. Something else is maybe separating into woodwind and brass / percussion classes, so we at least have some separation. Or if we could do it the way it's done at North, and it's worked excellently, is having a woodwind class, a brass class, and a percussion class, which just allows for the most differentiation, relationship building, and just bring them up to the higher level that they can achieve at. And having this equity across the district would really be beneficial for the whole program. Okay, I'm almost done, I promise. Okay, 2 other things that we've noticed is the busing costs are starting to limit the things we can do for the students. So all those really cool experiences that they had, we potentially would have to take away because we can't afford, even with fundraising, we've done many fundraisers and fundraising efforts, we can't afford to take them on all those trips and buy their instruments and buy the books and all those things. So that's something that would be really helpful, is if there was a way to subsidize those costs, or allot money for these trips, that would be really, really great for the kids' experiences. And finally, the districting. This among so of those, let's say 120 kids that we've recruited, 37 or 38 are not sure. We don't know which school they're going to go to. So then it's harder for us to communicate directly with them and work directly with their teachers and just, bring our faces to their, experience and all that. So that's just something that'd be helpful, is if we could know which school the feeds where and having that kind of map, that would be really helpful for us to be able to just push our programs a little bit more. So just to wrap that all up, overall, like I said, we went from 15% to now we're looking at closer to 20%. And we'd like to be about 25% of the 5th grade class being in band for going into middle school. And like I said, 90% of students stay in band when they start through 8th grade. And our primary concerns are the scheduling and budget. But overall, if we could fix those little issues, we would ultimately bring up the numbers in the middle school, which would help the high school band in a major way. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. I am speaking more so on behalf of Jonah Hertig. He was not able to be here today, but I am also the assistant band director with the high school. I'm primarily at South, but I do help with a lot of marching band season, and I have been able to make myself available some mornings to be able to go back and forth and help them out during collaboration time when we're not having immediate meetings. So I don't want to go too in depth with all these slides. I know a lot of this is in the board docs, but the big thing we want to talk about is just the numbers. So when in the fall of 2023, so the start of last school year, we had 72 band students, which if anybody knows a band program and at a school this size, that's significantly smaller than what we typically see. But our increase, we had a 19.4% increase to 86 band students. And when we look at the number from one school year to another with kids who signed up for band, we had about 40 something kids who committed on their schedules. But once we get to summer rehearsals, a lot of them bow out with zero communication, just communicate maybe with counselors after they sign up for band and take it off their schedule. So honestly, that amount of kids that we get bridged over from middle school to high school is kind of sad in my opinion, given what we were kind of promised. And we did really, really work hard to make sure that we kept track of those kids until they just didn't show up for rehearsal, and that was really difficult to swallow on our end, because we tried, and we're the goal for all of these conversations is to create a better bridge between the middle schools and high schools, and our communication has been stronger than ever in my opinion lately. So I think that we are on the right track to making sure that we get that bridge gapped, but I think especially with some of the things that Tiana had touched on with how to make our brand program stronger, even if we can get traveling band directors who can go back and forth and just advocate, like make it high school exciting for kids. Some of that we had seen interest in 8th graders participating in pep band, so I am also the pep band director, so I wear many hats. But we have our 8th graders given the option if you want to do stadium band. So during football season, we give them that opportunity. It's not just 8th grade night, it's the entire season. We give them the chance to do pep band. Some kids are like, oh, that's a different season, I don't want to do anything. But I still have quite a few 8th graders who still show up, are getting that interaction with high schoolers, and are able to take that back to the middle schools and say, hey, this was exciting, you should do this too. And if there's any kids, at least on my end, that were like, high school band's not for me, I always make sure that we have the conversation, what activity are you doing to replace that? Because then it really makes them think, okay, am I going to stay involved with school activities, or do I want to just continue with band because that's what I'm comfortable with? They think of marching band as an entirely separate endeavor, and it's really not. It's just a moving concert band. So we're trying to kind of change that mindset. And we only have 9 seniors graduating this year, so we should have a pretty big increase this year. We're excited for it. We're excited for a new season. Typical ensembles, we kind of touched on some: color guard, marching band, concert band, freshman band. Freshman band splits off from concert band second semester, so they're all together during that first semester. Jazz band was a little bit difficult this year. It was not a class during the school day, so he had to get together on Fridays and have a committed group of kids to perform with the jazz band. The year before they were extremely successful, we had the OSU jazz band come and share a concert with us. We would love to have that back. I believe it's supposed to be a class next year. And then pep band, like I said. Again, a lot of this stuff is already in the board docs if you would like to take a closer look. A big thing we wanted to highlight was just the course offerings. I think that was a big question, was what courses are offered at the high school. So when you're looking at it, marching band obviously is a half a year endeavor. Right now they're doing concert band during the school day and marching band in the evening, hoping to retain even more kids, hoping to answer some questions of kids who are scared to try that new activity. And oftentimes we do get kids who are like, I think I'll try that my sophomore year. So concert band during the day, first semester, second semester, they split off. So we have an upperclassman band and a freshman band. Pep band is in the winter with not football season, excuse me, basketball season. So from my understanding, in the first semester, Mr. Herdig only taught one period of band and the rest was study halls. And then this semester, he's teaching concert band, freshman band. I believe he has a history of music and then study halls. I think that the goal for next year is to ensure that there's more music happening. So I believe jazz band's returning, band methods, music fundamentals. So this is more so getting the kids that we have interested in music, interested in the program, to kind of boost themselves further in their knowledge of band. I know that some of the band methods will be like marching band methods, but it's not just isolated to marching band. It could be conducting methods. It can really be anything that the band director chooses for it to be, and in order to help boost kids. Because honestly, in my personal opinion, I wish we had something when I was in school. At the high school, I graduated 2018, and I would have loved to have something that really helped push me into my field. And I feel that the opportunities I had were wonderful, but I feel there obviously could have been more, and I want more for some of our kids, because I know at least one student who is graduating who volunteers his time at Middle School South who would benefit from classes like this and learning how to teach. And that's the benefit of him coming to me. But if he had a class dedicated to that, that would be wonderful. Yeah, we have all kinds of different visions, just things that the band does really well within this slideshow. So like I said, if you would like to take a closer look, I don't want to take too much of your time, but it is available to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hello. I'm in charge of all the choral discussions, so we'll push on over to that one. So again, I am Nolan Kelly. I'm the director at the high school. I'm joined by Reed Robershot and Jonathan Stewart at Middle School Central and Middle School South. Mr. Maddox could not be here today, but we know he is sharing his support from afar. My goal is to kind of share the current state and progress of kind of the choral programs that we have at the middle school and high school, and plans and kind of retention rates that we have there. Won't get too big into kind of the numbers of it, but what I can share is that we currently serve a total of 149 students across all three middle schools and the high school, pretty much split right down the middle. 50% of those students are in middle school, 50% are in high school. 73 students specifically in the middle schools. You can see the numbers there. Based on South, North, and Central, as well as the classes they offer, as well as the students involved in those. Something to point out in all three of the middle schools is that there is a lot of combined grade levels that are working together as a result of that block scheduling, which we know we talked about. That offers an interesting perspective for these growing students, but also does present an issue when it comes to sixth grade students working along eighth grade students who maybe don't have the same level of confidence as perhaps we would like when it comes to the performing arts. So it does present a slight issue there. With the high school, currently we have 3 choirs operating. One of them is a non-audition group, so any student was able to join for this group. We did have 4 last year. We had concert choir, symphonic, divisi, and then a women's chorus. Due to the lack of students signing up for women's chorus, that class was unfortunately dropped in favor of having concert choir be at a larger number. I also do have 12 students who are currently involved in the DVC choir who are doing both symphonic choir and DVC. So they are pulling double duty when it comes to that, which is great to see. I love returning faces. So overall, we have a total of 76 students at the high school across those three choirs. In terms of retention, we have about 45% of our program being returning students. The numbers are there, percentages are there. And then that leaves the remaining 55% that are new to the program. Interestingly enough, the ninth grade incoming class is not the largest. It is actually the 10th grade at 14, which I do believe is very interesting. As far as retention at the high school, um, this is my second year, so I'm still new to this. I'm still trying to figure this out. But the plan that we've had so far is working on a baseline, which I want to kind of continue. For this year's concert series, I have re-implemented it in order to have themes, not just to make it easier for the selection of music, but also to allow students to express themselves across each of the 4 concerts. An important one to note is the winter concert, which I did actually share with the middle school choirs, and we also did do a combined piece at the end of that winter concert, which was very exciting to have. The March concert that we just held at the high school, 2 of the songs that the symphonic choir performed were also taken to the Ohio Music Education Association large group adjudication on March 8th, which was something that they got to talk about. And then our final concert, which comes May 6th, with the theme of One More Time to kind of express our kind of fleeting moments with one another, which I believe is great. In terms of outside of those, the concert series this year has been about throwing things on a dartboard and hoping that they stick. I have introduced a lot of new into this program. We did do the Ohio Capitol Conference Honor Choir that I was able to take 4 students who auditioned in order to go. We just recently did the Falcon Choral Festival, which is a paid event that one student, a junior, Kennedy Simone Rufus, was able to attend. And she was also nominated as a vocal scholar for that event, which was a very big thing to have. The OMEA Solo and Ensemble, we ended up taking 12 high school students across all grade levels and choirs in order to participate. Many walked away with a superior or an outstanding rating on that. Large group competition, I did take the symphonic choir at the beginning of March in order to perform at. Unfortunately, they did not receive a superior or an outstanding. They received a 3 rating, which is a accomplished rating. Still something to behold, especially as this is the first time they've gone in about 3 to 4 years, especially since only about 2 of those students from the previous choir director were part of that class that did go. So this was a very new experience for a lot of those kids. We do have a Kings Island performance at the end of this year that we are taking the audition choirs to, as well as I am trying to implement more of a senior appreciation into the choirs, try to promote more of a camaraderie as with both the senior class as well as the grades underneath. So we will be having an event there with them. As far as recruitment with the middle schools, all 3 of the middle schools, they do have performance and recruitment tours at the elementary schools in early May. Due to kind of districting, sometimes they go to these exact ones, sometimes they might double it up. It just, kind of depends. They do short performances with Q&As for all their 5th grade classes. They sign up any interested 5th graders for the 6th grade choir, and they also share all those names with their counselors in order to set up their next year rosters. At the high school, again, as I said, this is new for me, and also this is a program that is fallen a little bit due to just kind of post-COVID society and also the changing of a choir director. So we have had, I will admit, a lower recruitment strategy than I would like to have. However, this year was the first time that I was able to go to the middle schools, and I was able to recruit a total of 6 students across all 3 middle schools in order to participate in the audition choirs for next year. So they've been able to jump immediately into a higher kind of bracket of vocal scholar, which is great. We also did have auditions for the entire month of February, which we also posted on our Cruiser News at the high school. So we are slowly picking up kind of our recruitment strategy. Due to it being new, the middle school is kind of where I want it to come from, and just due to time constraints and due to costs, haven't been able to make it over to the middle schools, but we've been trying to make it work with what we have in order to get 8th graders to come over. As far as course offerings, like I said, last year there were 4 offerings. This year there are only 3. All 3 of these courses last for 1 year. They're a full year credit for all of these students. The non-auditioned choir being the largest at 47, symphonic at 25, DVC at 16. So that is a much lower ensemble number, but that is a very specialized group of students there. In terms of potential offerings that I want to bring back, unfortunately, just due to audition processes, our symphonic choir the title alone will have to retire for next year due to a lack of students auditioning. But what we can do is actually introduce our first ever auditioned treble choir, which will be known as bel canto for the 2025-2026 years. So there is kind of a fix we've been able to make to that. Big things that I want to try to do are bring non-auditioned more to a forefront, not make it as much of a preference to have audition kids. I just want kids. I just want students to come and enjoy choir for what it does. Performance skill, friends, everything that it can offer. Another thing that I have noticed that is potential to change after the 2025-2026 year is to switch everything, instead of being year-long, to semester-based. That does present a potential issue of only having kids for a semester, especially in the audition choirs where I need more student engagement. But what I've noticed is that students do not have the flexibility in their high school schedules to make time for a full year course. So if switching it over to a semester allows for flexibility with myself as well as with the 4 high school counselors, then that is something that I'm amenable to doing if it means that the choir program can flourish at the high school. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have it. The collision, is that no longer, do we not have a percussion group anymore?
So if I'm not mistaken, the Collision concert.
That was always so much fun.
Oh yeah, we loved it. Back when I was in school, it was like a ticket based. You had to pay for a ticket. Anymore, just because of concert turnout, it is a free concert for the community. Our kids work really hard. The Collision concert this year, and I could very much be wrong because I don't work directly with Collision, but from my calendar is the 2nd, May 2nd. I believe that maybe they changed that to May 1st because of prom, but it's the 1st. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lively. I remember there being a conflict with prom that they were kind of reverting to. Our percussion instructor, Helena Savalain, she does a wonderful job with the students and works really hard with them. And I know we have students who are not percussionists who also dabble in the percussion arts. So it's a really cool ensemble. They go outside of the traditional concert band setting. I remember they would do glow in the dark, or they would do ladders, like just body percussion things. They kind of go way beyond what you think a normal band program is. So yes, percussion, Collision, it still happens. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I just wanted
John, I can't hear what you're saying.
Sorry about that. Push the button. I just wanted to say thank you for all the energy and effort you put into this presentation, and for being here, many, many hours after you started your day today. And I really would love to see us as a board and the district just follow up on some of your recommendations.
what I would say is like finding our highest common denominator, like was pointed out, the schools that have the most robust, and making that consistent across the board, and just addressing some of these opportunities that we have to grow the program. And I would also say, from speaking with people here, you know, we have contacts as we seek for new band direction and replace an employee. We have people here that know George Edge that work with Swearingen, and I would just suggest that whether it's as simple as email, that we involve some of those high level people to help us find the best of the best. And I just really loved everything you pointed out, and hopefully we can come together to support you and help to make the music program amazing. And also, when I see numbers like 90%, that means 90% of these students aren't just participating in choir, but they're staying in our district. And that's a big deal right now. So appreciate everything you do. I think everybody up here, I'm positive everybody on our board, music was a very important element of our education. So thank you all for what you do.
I just want to echo that as well. Thank you for everything that you do. I am new to the music realm the last few years. My son is in band, but I've gotten to see, I mean, not only they're learning about music, but you had referenced it as well, but they've got their friend group there. It's their social network. It's helping to build confidence. So thank you, each and every one of you, for what you do every day with teaching our kids. Thank you.
The only question I had my son that was interested in band. He picked up, he had to take an instrument that they didn't, because everyone took the drums, right? So have we ever looked at going back to those students that may have been interested in band, but in a specific instrument, tried something else, it didn't work out because that wasn't their passion instrument? Because I think there's a lot of kids that are possibly at the high school, because in middle school band, there were certain positions and it was limited that they would be interested, but they don't know that they can still consider going since they didn't come from the middle school into the high school with band.
So, in regard to instrument selection, they are picked based on that's what the tryouts are for, and we recommend that they stay with their instrument that was chosen for them, because then they can grow. Now, the beauty of the schedule that is set up at North is that students who are interested in those other instruments have the ability. So I had like, now we have high schoolers who are like trumpet players that did percussion as well in middle school because they wanted to seek out those other things. So we definitely try to open up as many doors as possible with that, so that they can explore all their musical interests. But yeah, so it's open, and if we allow for more schedule flexibility, that would really give more to that.
Yeah, because they're now, some of them could be in high school and still maybe interested in percussion and things like that, and we can grab them now because they are there ninth grade, because they may have dropped, because started in band in middle school, but because they just really wasn't connected to that instrument, they let it go. So I think there's a group of those students that we may also miss that we could support. I just didn't know if we had a way, like let's go back and just see who was in band in middle school, didn't carry on, and see if there's another way to re-engage with them, because a lot of them could have been the music choice that they were kind of forced to take versus the latter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a
So
suggestion.
is that where it's forced, like the instrument is chosen for that child rather than the child gets to choose what they want to play?
So our fitting process is that students come to the fitters with an idea of 3 instruments that they'd be interested in. At least from my perspective, whenever we're doing the fittings, they'll come to me and they'll say, hey, I want to play this. And we'll look at what the fitters recommended. If they said, I want to play the trumpet, but the fitter was like, no, thank you. That didn't work for you. Then we'll look and say, well, they said you were excellent at the clarinet, excellent at percussion. Is there one of these that you want to try? If they are dead set on trying that instrument, trying the trumpet, we'll say, okay, we go work with you. And then the first couple weeks, if it doesn't work out, you can trade out your instrument. Through Music and Arts, the company that we go through, they are able to take the payments that you already made on one instrument and just kind of tack it onto a different instrument if something does not work out. So students have that flexibility if it just doesn't work out for them. And sometimes it just takes the student trying the thing to figure out that, okay, maybe it's not for me. Like they just don't believe the initial instruction they were given. So we try to give them that opportunity. Oftentimes at South, I say, hey, if it's not working out, have your parent call me, see if they're okay with the change. we could talk through what instruments maybe you, because I try to keep their paper and say, okay, like this worked well with your mouth shape. Like maybe we can work on that too. In terms of the high school with students kind of moving on and kind of losing that passion, the only issue that we would come across is that the ensembles that we do have are past the middle school level. So if we don't have more representatives, more band directors at the high school to assist in more ensembles, it would be really nice to be like, hey, let's get like a beginners high school ensemble, because they will learn faster and become part of the higher ensembles eventually. But just because we have the one band director all day long, it's kind of hard to ensure that. And also, if we're speaking numbers, we can't guarantee how many students that would actually be. It could be 4 students, it could be 40 students. I don't think that would be the case, but that it would be wonderful because we want to ensure that everybody gets that chance.
To point of clarification and a question, I heard a traveling band director and something about an assistant band director. Do we have an assistant band director at the high school level at this point, or is it kind of afloat?
So I am considered the assistant band director. I take the supplemental for marching band season. And like I said earlier, I make myself available during first period band. I'm only able to be there for about the first 30 minutes of the period, and then I have to go back to South to fulfill my duties there. When I was in school, we did have traveling band directors. We had assistant band directors. There could have been 3 band directors at the high school at any given time. And honestly, it made a great way for collaboration. It did a lot of breakdown for some of these like subsections like brass percussion, woodwind, or they also had how we have concert band, freshman band. Those are 2 separate class periods. They now, or back then, they had 2 directors doing 1 ensemble each at the same exact time. One was in the band room, one was in the choir room. There was just no choir during first period. We were able to utilize that space. But as of right now, we are very one to each school, and that travel. Mr. Cody Bryson has been wonderful in allowing me to spend some of my mornings there whenever it's not meetings and whatnot in our collaboration time. But if we had meetings every single morning, I wouldn't be able to do that. And my time with them, sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's 3 times a week, and it just kind of depends on what we're doing with my job in that given week, whether or not I can spend more time with those kids.
So do you feel this is working well, or do you feel that next level would be to have a full-time assistant at the high school?
I absolutely believe that a full-time assistant would be beneficial at
Yeah.
the high school, just given that I have very limited time. I can't necessarily pull kids and get beneficial subsectional time to give more direct instruction. So I think having 2 people committed to that one space, I think would be wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, great.
I will say that we're in the process of looking into adding the assistant band director at the high school. Most high schools that have a 2,000 person population has an assistant band director. It also helps with the traveling and getting down to the lower grades and collaboration with the middle school and other music teachers.
Has there been any, a great presentation, lots of great information. Thank you for your time. Has there been any thoughts or consideration to bringing string instruments into our band program?
As of right now, the traditional style of this district is just band instruments, concert band instruments. We have never truthfully considered string instruments. There has been some moments where I believe we had a string bass player who came to our district and said, "Hey, I'm interested," and then she was able to be incorporated in the jazz band. And another time, we had a student who was a violinist, and he still had communication through the band director. Did the solo and ensemble events, was able to get adjudicated for that. But again, we have not considered, just because I think just lack of interest right now, we have not considered a string program.
And realistically, the personnel to do that, I think we would just need more human beings, like adults, to do that.
And it's very expensive because the district would have to provide the larger instruments. It is not realistic to ask a student who is this tall and super skinny to buy a large double bass to be used in class and tote it back and forth. So that would be a big district cost that would have to take years to speak about.
And Reed, did you?
I was going to say that throughout my experience, there has been some student interest in wanting to pick up string instruments and have an orchestra program. The response that myself and Mr. Miller, we team teach band with the sixth grade at Middle School Central, has been kind of just like, that is so cool that you're interested, but unfortunately, we don't have those offerings here. And there has been some students that have transferred in from other districts that have like, hey, I've been doing violin at whatever school, and it's like that's awesome, but we don't have it here. So there is some student interest from my experience with that for getting string instruments and orchestra is kind of involved.
Yeah, we talked about doing string instruments probably 8 years ago, and the band director at that time told us that yes, that would start, but it never came to fruition. So,
And I think a lot of our students, even when my oldest son was in the district, which would have been around that time before he went to college, we did programs outside like urban strings and
Yes.
things like that because we didn't have it in the district. So that would be a great add if we could, if that's something, because I think it's there. It's just how do we get it incorporated? Like you said, you do need the staff as well. So again, great presentation. Thank you for letting me know about the concert on the first as well.
Yeah, I would say from when, and I'm sure Libby has input as well, from when we had a huge orchestral band, a lot of the strings was homework. You know what I mean? There was a lot. These students were in elementary school, selecting that instrument, going to private lessons, playing in the Jewish Center Orchestra, etc. So I think, sorry, I think maybe just looking at it collaboratively and as resources versus maybe what we can do in house if we have the right places to steer these kids that are interested in string bass and violin and other string instruments, I think we might be able to nurture that and benefit from it without maybe having all the resources that we don't have right now.
Like I do know at the middle school level, especially for choir, I'm sure Jonathan and Anthony would agree. We only have two choir classes each, so there is still plenty of space in our schedules to kind of move classes or trying to come up with at least a solution without getting all new personnel as well.
Right. And sorry if I don't mean to monopolize, but by way of auditioning, I know for me, if you can believe this, I was shy when I was younger. But the choir director would versus audition would in the different schools would kind of listen and pick out and kind of promote up. So that would be another way is to just rather than having auditioning, just have the middle school choir directors kind of filtering, if you will, into the up into this program.
Yeah, so that was the goal with going to the middle schools. I've been able to go to Mr. Stutes and Mr. Maddox's and listen to students there. Also, with the audition process, I am trying to make it a I'm listening instead of I'm teaching. There is the students bring a prepared song of anything that they want to sing. I don't want it to be a choir song. I just want it to be something that they enjoy because at the end of the day, that is what the vocal arts are about is about enjoying what it is you're singing and what it is you're putting out there. So I try to make it a focus of it's what you're performing that gives you the heart. It's not just the, do re mi fa sol la si do. That's all that stuff. So,
Right.
filtering and kind of promoting up is definitely a aspiration that I wanted to kickstart right away, which has already proved fortuitous to already have a few kids who've already kind of accelerated their way into kind of higher responsibility choirs at the high school, and they haven't even been there for day one of a ninth grader. So, yeah.
I did have one question for the choir, the team. With the additional choirs we're talking about or the extra time,
Mhm.
have we considered, like, I know a lot of students are, at least what I've seen, they may not want to do choir, but they've done like other ensembles or they're looking at studio recording and things like that. Is there a plan to ever offer any of
Yeah,
those
so
things?
performance skills is something that I think is important regardless of if it is vocal or otherwise. Public speaking, instrumentation, learning of new instruments. I am not an instrumentalist, I am a vocalist first. But promoting different ways of being in the performing arts without necessarily having to be in choir is definitely something that is being considered. There's also, hopefully, fingers crossed, planning to have that implemented as soon as next year. There's also, I think that there is a lot of integrity to having groups that are sanctioned by voice part. To have a mixed group ensemble, especially with my concert choir, it's 47 kids across all 4 grade levels. I get a lot of personality, and sometimes it's easier to say that I'm going to be able to do something with it than have to deal with it. And Miss Judy knows that. But having voice parts that are specific to them help them understand each other a lot easier and a lot better, and allows them to work as a team a lot more effectively because they're not trying to listen to all of these different voices, just a few voices that sound just like them.
I have one more question. I think I'm all done. So back from my day, I can't remember the name, but we were able to take, I guess what you would call kind of a music study hall in a practice room. So if you were a pianist or whatever, we had a lot of practice rooms back then, but you could actually take whatever it was, your 45 minutes, as you progressed junior or senior and you had your credits fulfilled, you were able to take a class where you just were coming in basically and using a portion of your day to practice, or maybe to practice with another instrument, or instrumentalist, I should say. Is that anything that we have at this point?
Due to myself and Mr. Herdig, the band teacher, due to the low number of actual performance ensembles that we have been reallocated to fulfill a lot of study hall proctors and history of music teachers, which is not a performance class. So we currently have no time outside of our conference period or the cruiser time set up at the high school to facilitate anything of that capacity, which is something that I know is very important, especially as a studio class, almost very akin to what you're talking about.
And honestly, and it's probably maybe extremely irrelevant to today. This wasn't a taught class or a monitored class. This was a here's your practice room, which might not work.
And we have the rooms to be able to facilitate that, both large and small spaces. Just again with the scheduling of the high school, there's no way for me or Mr. Herdig to set time aside in order to commit to that effectively.
Thank you.
Yes.
From listening in the mornings, I think that the high school in general is just trying to rein in the students who are in places that they shouldn't be. So they've made a blanket expectation that you have to be in the assigned area that you're in. You're not to go to another classroom, even if the band students prearrange to want to practice during one of his study halls or one of their study halls if they align. They have been instructed, I believe, to go back to their regular class, so they're not able to come during their lunch or during those times. And I think that if we were able to format those study halls to be more band student oriented, I know we have a couple of band students who probably do take advantage of that time with his study hall, but there's, by count on one hand, how many students do have study hall with him. So I think if we develop that format of a band only study hall where they get the chance to fulfill their practice logs or their practice videos, I think that could be very beneficial to consider.
All right. Well, thank you again. This was very informative and excellent job. Thank you. All right, on to item F, board items. First one is the board membership training update, which I do have. So we have a training scheduled. It is on, pull up my notes here, June 16th, 6:30 p.m. with Mrs. Robbins from OSBA. She said to plan on 2 to 2.5 hours, so it should be done by 9 p.m. that night. Yes, yep, and I believe that was the date we last board meeting agreed on. Yep, June 16th. It's a Monday. All right, on to item 2, educational trust.
Yeah, so there's a motion here. The board supports the Education Trust fundraising events. The golf outing is going to be June 13th, 2025, and approves expenditures related to the event. It's going to be at Groveport. Links again, same times as last time. Flyers are we're a little over 2 months out, so they'll start going out in the next week. The flyers. We had a great turnout last year for the first one.
We did.
But yes, that's going to start happening. So I just want to let you guys know we do need an action for the expenditures.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have Mrs. Gray as first and Mrs. Dowdelberger as second.
Can I also state, as we're thinking about our focus this year, last year we did lunch, but what we heard today between that and I think what we've also heard from our athletics throughout the year, maybe there'll be our 2 focuses to provide funding to those areas or have those available to support band and our sports teams.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
That'll be the focus this year. Roll.
Yep, on to roll call, please.
Can
Oh,
you,
sorry.
Can you read the motion, please?
Board supports the Educational Trust fundraising event, the golf outing on June 13th, 2025, and approves expenditures related to that event.
Thank you.
Ms. Walsh?
Aye.
Mrs. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Bauer?
Aye.
Ms. Duddelberger?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, on to the transportation discussion. And Mr. Coyer, do you mind just informing us kind of where we're at with everything, and we can go from there.
Before the meeting, I put at everybody's desk, and I uploaded Word docs the actual contract extension addendum, so you guys can review that for the next board meeting when we have this on. But this is just an update for discussion. We looked at different avenues and stuff, but in negotiations, we're still in negotiations. Honestly, since it hasn't improved yet. But this is the contract extension addendum that me and Mr. Group Superintendent are recommending to the board.
Would it be okay to schedule some time with the 2 of you during the day to go over any of my questions?
Yes, just
go through the
email me.
documents?
Yeah, I met with Mr. Kirschner and Mrs. Walsh last Friday. It was like a little over 2 hours, and it was a good conversation. And we went through all the stuff. But yeah, if you want to just email us after the board meeting tonight, and you want to come in like 2 at a time, or I just can't have 3 or 1 at a time. That's fine. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And just part of discussion, I actually also met, I had questions just in general, just because some of the things I've seen. So I met with the Mr. Superintendent and our amazing transportation director. So I did do that for about an hour or so, went through things, and then I just had general questions with and I talked to you as well, I think, Mr. Collier. So yeah.
I think we're, yeah. Anything else? All right. If not, let's go to item 4, the investigator update. So just real quick, we have received information for an independent third-party attorney that's familiar with the school law. They have no previous connection whatsoever with our district or any of our team members. This individual is a sole practitioner that works in Franklin County, and we should expect a product from this investigation in May. That's what I have regarding that. All right, and let's move on to let's see, G, superintendent's agenda. We'll start with the department reports.
Thank you. Well, the department reports, I have 2 here that I'm going to speak to. The human capital. We are in the process of right now teaming up with the cabinet and a collaboration of our cabinet directors and talking about staffing and enrollment projections. And at the same time, we are on the recruiting trail. Mr. Trace was recruiting today in Xavier, and some of the other places we've been is Ohio State University, Ohio University, Bowling Green State University, Akron, and Toledo among a few. The other update is business services, and there will be some follow-up with that coming up. But we are working on building improvements for the 4500 building on South Hamilton Road. Mr. Hausman is working on estimates and proposals. He's also going to share with you playground equipment, fencing for 5 new structures and paving opportunities. Thank you.
Any questions or discussion? All right, on to the next item, please.
Was that a discussion? Oh, yeah.
All right, on to transportation. Go ahead.
I just couldn't hear you. I didn't know what was going on.
So, is there any updates from transportation?
Yeah, sorry, John. I was just saying that there was the additional report for transportation and was making sure that we had that
Thank you.
presented.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, ladies and gentlemen of the board, our report stands as submitted. I'm sure you've received it. Still struggling with the drivers. We are down about 10 drivers from last month. And although there's good recruiting and the wonderful work that Teresa and the ladies do in that office to keep that moving, it's a continued struggle. We are experiencing other districts raising their hourly rate in competition. Everybody's struggling with drivers, so that's continuing. We have 5 in the pipeline. Well, that's all in the report. What we have coming up soon is the Ohio School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. It's on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. We'll do a celebration over there on Monday, May 5th. And Teresa's hard at work with the route book updates. They focus on each driver individually, making sure the turn by turns, which is required by state law, is done. Very difficult work to do so that the sub driver has accurate information. One of the biggest challenges for a sub driver is having to rely on a middle school kid or some other device to get them to and from where they need to go. Sometimes the technology doesn't work so well. The OAPT conference is coming up, and we're going to have 6 staff from CBS, the 3 district staff, and that's June 8th to 11th. Of course, Teresa's an officer in that organization, so we're really lucky to have her making us attuned to what's happening at the state level. It's an involved 3-day conference. Toledo field trip overnight has been scheduled and approved. Did that already happen? The Toledo field trip? Do we know? It hasn't happened yet. Okay, so that's all taken care of from what I understand. Yeah. And then end of the year picnic, which we have every year, is scheduled May 31st at Khyber Run. Any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. What is, and then maybe for you, I don't know, but the resolution on the band bus, this has been on there several times. So what's the holdup? What's going on with that?
I'm told either the band department has to. Oh, thank you, Teresa.
I've just seen it on here multiple times, and I'm just curious.
So the last we spoke, we're waiting back from information from Adam, our attorney, on because it is our own bus, so we owned it. Community Bus did the updates for it, and then we're in limbo. Do we have to sell it to the band boosters, or can we gift it to the band boosters? Because it is a district-owned bus that we were not going to be able to use because it couldn't pass state highway patrol inspections, but it can be used for a band bus.
So the band boosters own the band buses?
No, the district owns the bus. We took a school bus that we were going to have to
buses.
yes.
Why would we have to donate? I mean, why can't we?
It's district owned property, so it's community property. So we just can't gift it to the band boosters or anybody else.
But if it's the band, why do we have to even gift it?
Because
We
it's
just
the
use
boosters. It's not the actual physical. We're not giving it to the band teacher. We're gifting it to the boosters.
I guess
How much
I'm
you
not
let
getting
It's a
the
different
point because-
organization than the school.
But I don't. Why do we have to give it
Yeah,
to
okay.
them?
Because
Why
they
can't
have
it just
they have
be
the driver,
ours?
right?
Yeah.
You're saying. 'Cause
Why
you're saying
can't it be the district's and the district
If
allows the
it's
band to use it, which is part of our school? So why does
then we're
why does
paying
the band?
we're paying the band booster driver.
Okay.
So, and then we're taking on the insurance responsibility.
Got it. So
Okay.
and
we're basically,
maintenance
and then it
That's what
takes it
I
out
just
of the
didn't
fleet.
understand. It was like,
And then
why
also
do
you can't legally use it, so does it have to, we have to get it out of our fleet then
Correct.
technically as well,
Well,
right?
we don't have, I mean, we could own it. We are allowed to own it if we want to take on that responsibility, but then we
Okay.
take on all of the responsibility of everything that's on that bus.
There we
The
go.
equipment, the driver, the insurance, the maintenance, the fuel, we take on the cost of that. If we donate it or sell it to the band boosters, then that responsibility becomes theirs. They have their own driver that drives the bus every day.
Can we check on that on the legal? Because I would think
Yeah.
if there was any accident on this, I would think it still would come back to the school because it's being
Not if
Not if
it's
it's-
not
not if
owned
it's
by
owned by the
us,
band
because it would be titled to the band and it would be insured by
Hey,
the
I
band
think I can
boosters.
help clear this up.
Yes.
The band bus will be for equipment only.
Yes.
We're not transporting students on it. So the band bus is beautifully decorated in cruiser colors. It's great, but only equipment will go on that.
I just was concerned, like if there was an accident and it was whether or not there was any students on the bus or not, we hit somebody, I would think that we would still be liable.
No, because it doesn't have our students on board. It would only have their equipment.
So is that what we do for the football team too? Like with their equipment, they have to have their own bus to transport their equipment, or does the district do that for them?
No,
And
there's not
baseball
the
teams and
football.
that?
It's not a booster for the football. It's the football team, and it's their personal equipment. This is their
So the band's
instruments and
treated
stuff.
differently than the sports.
Well, they have a
teams are.
band booster. I don't know if football has a booster or not, but I think their equipment fits pretty well on the bus with them. Where band boosters, you got drums and things like that.
I don't get that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just
I
waiting
don't
on
either.
we're just waiting on guidance from our legal department. So
Can I add in or ask about when we ask legal, since we have the Ed Trust, which is also separate, not sure if we want to take that on, but then it stays with the board, then that could be a part of our fundraisers to cover the cost of that, because it is a nonprofit. That'd be a way, because we don't know, like, if that person in the boosters, how would that, we would then, if somebody, I don't know, we don't have any say with that. So if the goal is to gift it to that for it to carry on, I don't know how much of a binding agreement. So just ask all those questions, like a binding agreement that it's forever to be with the boosters until the boosters dissolve or whatever. Or is there a way for the Ed Trust to take that on, and that the way it stays with the Board of Education is kind of in the school but not in the school? That then it gets back to where you were at, Liddy.
We'll talk with legal.
Yeah, just
I think
just
I think a possible avenue would be like $1 a year lease or something like that, where they take responsibility for it, but we still own we still own the bus. They're leasing it, and therefore they're not on the hook for maybe maintenance and other costs that they might not be able to afford. So I think there's quite a bit we can look at here. And this is a little off subject, but not a lot. When I was on the school board before, we had a partner, Nick Solstice, from the prosecutor's office, and as you know, our de facto legal representation by law is the prosecutor's office. So when we were looking into things like this, like the band bust and other things, our bill was $0 versus $300 an hour. So I think it would be great if we could get back to having that resource, establishing that resource for simple questions like this, where we're not getting hit with so many legal bills throughout the year. It's just a suggestion, an idea.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, on to item 2.
Yes, Mr. Somm will present the Chromebook approval purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to
Okay.
do the recommended
The superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the purchase of 500 student Chromebooks and 350 staff Chromebooks.
so moved.
Second.
All right, Mrs. Gray is first and Mrs. Dowdelberger is second.
Okay.
Good evening. What is on the board agenda is our selection for these 2 sets of devices. We did get multiple quotes from at least 4 vendors. I'm not sure how that worked out with the Amazon because Amazon sends it out and gets even more vendors. Anyway, lots of quotes, lots of stuff. What we selected is on par with the fleet that we have now, as well as the accidental damage protection for student devices.
It sounded like you said something about Amazon. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry. Amazon is one of the partners and vendors that we use to solicit quotes.
Thank you.
Any questions or discussion?
I'll just throw my 2 cents in. I think from what I'm seeing and reading about in the trends since COVID, I think we should look towards less Chromebooks at the elementary level and more getting back to written work, etc. So it's just my comment on that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Under roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
Aye.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Mrs. Dettelberger,
Aye.
Mr. Kirschner.
No.
Motion passes. On to item 3.
The treasurer recommends the Groveport Madison Local Board of Education accept the minutes for the February 27th, 25 Student Advisory Council meeting.
I so move.
Second.
I have Mr. Kirschner as first and Mrs. Gray as second. Any discussion? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
Oh, aye.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Mrs. Dettelberger,
Abstain.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 4.
Treasurer recommends the Groveport Madison. Sorry, I switched those and apologize. Accept the minutes. Treasurer recommends Groveport Madison Local Board of Education accept the minutes for the February 10th. Sorry, Parent Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mrs. Gray as first, Mr. Kirschner as second. Any discussion?
I do have a question, on these committees, such as this one, there was only one board member present, so I assume that one of the board members couldn't make it. And I've noticed on past meeting minutes from these committees that other board members had filled in for board members that were absent. And I know I did not receive a call to see if I could fill in. I don't know if anybody else did for that, but how does that work? What's our process there?
So how it worked is you had an opportunity when we did the committees to sign up, and it was the last minute. So it was too late to do a phone call with all the changes then. So
I'm sorry, is that, Latoya, could you start over? Because this is not, I'm not
no problem.
picking it up.
So when the committees, when we discussed parent advisory and student advisory committees, every board member had an opportunity to volunteer. And so that's how that was decided.
Okay, that kind of doesn't answer the question
For
really.
the Parent Advisory Committee, we had 2 board members that were to be on it, and then we had an alternate. And that's how the Parent Advisory Committee is. And at that
So
meeting,
what
neither
meeting
one
was
of them
that?
were able to be at the Parent Advisory.
What meeting was
The
that?
second, or the February 10th. At the last minute, they were not able, neither one of them were able to be
Okay.
present.
Thank you.
I guess I'm not following.
On a roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
Abstain.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Dettelberger,
Abstain.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Number 5, motion, the treasurer recommends the Groveport Madison Local Board of Education approve the minutes for the March 11th Records Committee meeting and the March 11th regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have Mrs. Gray as first and Mrs. Dettelberger as second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would like to say that there's so many things wrong with those meeting minutes that it just took way too long to go through them. Um, when I go through them, I have to go according to trying to hear them. I can't really hear them, so I have to look at closed caption. Closed caption doesn't have the speaker on it, so it takes me probably 5 times longer than it does anybody else. I did send something late to the treasurer and to all the board members, and I did start to go through the March the 17th meeting, the St. Patrick's Day meeting. That was fun. Um, and again, I'd say that if our students had paragraphs like this, it would be a problem. And for us as a board to put forth something that we wouldn't even accept from our students, we're supposed to be setting the example. That's all I have.
Could
And
you
I sent all the changes so that I thought, but there's a lot wrong, and I just don't want to take the time during a meeting to go through each individual thing, but I can if you want me to go through and say, hey, this didn't happen here. Do we need to change it? Did you guys get the email I sent? And I was surprised to find out that not one other person reached out to say, hey, there's a problem with these blatant errors.
could
Did
you
anybody
restate?
else review them?
Yes, could you restate what you were saying about paragraphs, please?
Oh, that's the paragraphs like in the March 17th, these paragraphs. It's wouldn't be acceptable for our students to turn in something like this. And we certainly should be setting the example for the rest of our district students. We're at the top here.
So my comment to that is I did review the minutes and I stand with what I've been saying. I'm not going to spend hours rewriting minutes if there are minor mistakes in them. I will send a request for corrections, but if it's going to take hours of a rewrite for me to get them accurate, I'm not going to participate in that process. It's not what I believe is what we are compensated for or reasonable. So I'm still looking for more accurate minutes to reflect what we're saying and the basis for our decisions and etc. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
No.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Dettelberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Hirschman.
No.
Motion passes. On to item 6.
Item 6. Treasurer recommends Groveport Madison local coordination approve the minutes for the March 17th special board meeting.
Second.
I have Mrs. Gray as first and Mrs. Dattelberger as second. Any discussion?
So these are the main meeting minutes that you were discussing, correct, Kathy, just now? I just want to make sure I was following because we had a lot. That wasn't the one we were on.
Point of order. This is. Can you start over, please, and maybe a little slower? Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what board member Dalberger said, so I'm hoping she could repeat it.
No, I said that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
No.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Dettelberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
No.
Motion passes. On to item 7.
The superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve payment in lieu of transportation reimbursement. The Ohio law allows for public school districts to determine the impracticality of transporting resident students attending school not located within the district after consideration of a number of factors. Upon that determination, the school district is permitted to offer payment in lieu of transportation to the parent/guardian. The transportation department has completed studies, and residents in affected areas will be offered payment in lieu as of 2024-2025 school year. The initial list of families being offered payment in lieu of transportation is attached and is executive content since it lists students' names.
So move.
Second.
I think it was Mrs. Gray as first and Mrs. Dowdleberger as second. Okay. Any discussion? All right, on to roll call, please.
Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Mrs. Dowdleberger.
Aye.
Mr. Bauer.
Aye.
Mrs. Gray.
Aye.
And Ms. Walsh.
No.
Motion passes on to item 8.
The superintendent recommends that Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the following certificated personnel items.
So moved. Second.
All right, I have Mrs. Gray as first, Mrs. Dowdleberger as second. Any discussion?
Do all these certified individuals have their licensure? I think it would be helpful if these reports had the license number on them.
I don't know if we can we put those, we can't put those out.
Can you go to the mic, Ms. Choi, so that way you can have that for the record, please? Thank you.
Due to now how the state has set up with OHID, our driver's license and our teaching license are all connected. So when you go to pull that up, like if I go to apply for a new driver's license, it's the same information as is on my ID number. So we don't publicize teacher ID numbers for that reason.
Thank you, Joy.
As an alternate, perhaps we could simply confirm licensure, just, license for the position.
I will say that we'll try our best for license, but we have a teaching shortage and there's alternative paths to license and there's alternative paths to certification. I'll talk to Mr. Trace and see what we can do to be more clear about it.
Mr. Deputy Superintendent, the way the report reads, it looks like there's an asterisk for pending licensure and/or background checks for those that are going through the process for onboarding. So that is annotated on this report, sir.
Thank you.
Great idea. Thank you.
Some of these people that you're looking at are brand new graduates, so they don't have a license number yet. So until they've actually received that degree, which can happen throughout the month of May, depending on colleges, and then we wait for the Department of Ed to actually issue. So you sometimes can have up to a 60-day hold on that actual license number. So they will be licensed. No one on that list we intend for them not to be licensed at this time, but that's why you're not seeing a license number for them. And so they can't get a license until they have a successful background check, but we can't do a background check until they've graduated. And so there's a lengthy process to actually get that number and that license issued for each of these individuals.
And Joy, that's normal every district.
That's normal. I mean, that's just the process of Ohio. And the closer you get to now, you have your veteran staff renewing license, because every teacher in the state of Ohio, your license expired June 30th. Everybody, statewide, all 150 some thousand of us that are in that pool. The closer you get to the end of May and December, we try to tell our veteran staff do it as early as possible, and we can actually renew our expiring licenses starting November 1 the prior year. We try to encourage them to do that, but we clearly can't herd all the cats in the right direction, but we try our best. That backs the Department of Ed up. So you actually sometimes can have a delay up to 60 days. They actually have until October 1 to produce a license by Ohio Revised Code.
So technically, I can still pay them up to 60 days.
Yes.
Correct.
And the other thing is we want to get them hired and in contract before.
Because as soon as they sign for us, they're ours, rather than letting them dangle here, and they've had 6 other job offers in this crazy time of shortage of teachers.
And it shows that we're committed to our employees here.
So by the time they got to the classroom, they're going to have their license and everything. Okay, thank you.
But there are multiple now, like Paul said, multiple licensors. There's those of us that are old school that went to a 4-year college and got a license immediately out. There are people that have chosen to work out in the business field and now come as business teachers, and they would be on a CTE license. There are teachers that have taken an alternative route where they've worked in business, maybe for Chase Bank, and now they want to come be a math teacher for us. So that's an alternative license. And we can go on and on. The old school Joy Bach way of getting a license and everybody else sitting in this room, those days are kind of, they're still there, but they're not the primary people coming out.
Right. Thank you, Joy. That was very helpful.
Yes, thank you, Joy, for explaining all that. I appreciate it.
It's crazy now.
Yeah.
Well, for me, this transcends necessarily teachers because we have other positions that are licensed, and I just want to know when we're looking that we didn't pass over a licensed individual for an unlicensed individual and that kind of thing. And I'm not talking about teaching staff necessarily, but just across the board, right? Yeah. Uh-oh. What have I done?
Although we often refer to them as teachers, GMLEA's contract covers all the certificated staff within the district. Those are all my members, GMLEA members, other than administration that would also be considered certificated staff. So yes, we do go with the certificated people prior to looking at those alternative licenses. But in some fields, alternative license are going to be probably the only way for us to go. Ohio State hasn't produced a high school physics teacher in about the last 15 years. Because if you're smart enough to go to college and get a degree in physics, you don't want to work in the public school system. You are making a lot more money somewhere else.
And to speak to what you're saying about passing over someone that has a license to someone that doesn't have a license, but it may be someone that's getting that alternative license. So maybe there's someone that we don't know that is applying, let's say, as an assistant principal. We don't know that person, but they have an assistant principal's license. But then we know someone that has a teaching license and working towards that alternative license. That license is legal and is actually encouraged by the state. So that person could be hired, and it holds the same value as the person that has that administrative license. So we're not doing something wrong or illegal by hiring that person that's getting the alternative administrative license.
And that is now encouraged within the state through administration and through teachers. We call that the grow your own.
That's what I was going to say. It shows upward
We've given a little
mobility
title. It's
in the
the grow
district.
your own. So we currently had put forth 14 names, 12, something in that ballpark, of people within the district that expressed an interest to seek licensure in the areas of special ed, which is our hardest to fill area. And so some of those could have been like maybe some of our classroom aides that have worked with our special needs kids for years and years. They're wonderful people. They've never had an opportunity, so now they can go into that grow your own. They have 4 years, up to 6 years actually, to complete that degree, and then they would come back and have to be our employees after that. So we had some teachers interested in that might be a third grade classroom teacher, but would now like to pursue special ed. We've had aides interested in that. I'm trying to think who else was on the list. So we had kind of so we submitted those names, building subs, who are in our buildings day to day and would like to have full-time permanent jobs, but they're interested in working with our special needs students. So it's a great program, but you're not going to see that same license that you're used to seeing if we're participating in those programs that are going to enrich our district.
But that's good because we've had plenty of discussion about multiple ways to fill our vacancies. We've talked about upward mobility within our district, and that really hits like all of those check marks. So that's great to hear.
So like if you're a regular licensed person, you go through a mentor program. It's a 2-year program. If you're on an alternative license, they make those people go through a 4-year mentor program, making sure that we've touched on all those areas to make them the best that they can be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh?
Aye.
Mrs. Gray?
Aye.
Mr. Bauer?
Aye.
Mrs. Dutterberger?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner?
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 9.
The superintendent recommends that Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the following non-certificated personnel items.
So moved.
Second.
I have Mrs. Dowdleberger as first, Mrs. Gray as second. Any discussion? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh.
Aye.
Mrs. Gray.
Aye.
Mr. Bauer.
Aye.
Mrs. Dellenberger.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 10.
The superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the 8th grade band trip to Kings Island.
I
So moved. So moved.
John first. Latoya second.
Mr. Kirschner is first and Mrs. Dowdleberger is second.
Yep.
Any discussion? On to roll call, please.
Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Mrs. Dellenberger.
Aye.
Mr. Bauer.
I'm gonna.
Ms. Gray.
I'm abstaining.
Staying.
Yep.
And Mrs. Gray.
Aye.
And Mrs. Walsh.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 11.
The superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the high school summer school teacher and coordinator job descriptions.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Kathy second.
All right. I have Mrs. Dowdleberger as first and Mrs. Walsh as second.
Yep.
Any discussion? On to roll call. Oh,
Just
sorry.
had a question about the program. What is it we're going to be doing, and how long is the program going to last?
These are specifically for high school students. So this is credit recovery. These are students who maybe failed courses and then we are actually doing, and if you look at the top, we will also talk about attainment for some of the health or PE kids coming in may want to do that to get it out of the way. So they make room in their schedule. Everything will be online, but they will have to come in and meet with or to test. So in the job description, it actually explains that that's why we have some people on site, because the students will come in and test on site.
Gotcha. I didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the dates are all listed in the
Yeah.
job description.
Okay.
Any discussion? On to roll call, please.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Mr. Bauer.
Aye.
Ms. Dellenberger.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 12.
The superintendent recommends that Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing the pavement contract.
So moved.
Second.
I have Mrs. Gray as first, Mrs. Dowdleberger as second. Any discussion?
Yeah. Why are we using an out-of-town general contractor versus just contracting with a pavement contractor that's here local?
Prodigy is basically they're part of a co-op. We've used them in the past to do the parking lot by Primary Health One. They did an outstanding job, and being part of the co-op, we get better pricing.
So, who ended up doing the actual work at the Primary Health One?
Through Prodigy, it ended up being AJ Asphalt.
Well, how do you know you have better pricing going through this co-op? I mean, basically, how do you know you have better pricing?
Being a part of the co-op, they're required to provide state term pricing, and the contractor that we work with gets multiple quotes from separate contractors that they're working with. So we always get the best price.
Well, we're paying for a construction manager basically for this project, right?
No, I'll oversee the construction and all the asphalt work.
Could you restate, please?
I'll oversee the asphalt work that goes on.
You'll say you'll oversee it? Is that
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what does Prodigy do if AJ's doing that? I mean, they're just doing it for free. I just don't buy that. And they have a not to exceed 15% for change orders.
The AJ Asphalt was on a previous project. I don't know who their subcontractor will be on this project.
Did we have change orders on the last project?
No, we didn't.
Any other discussion? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh.
No.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Mrs. Dellenberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
No.
Motion passes. On to item 13.
The superintendent recommends the Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing the contract for playground equipment, fencing, and mulch.
So moved.
Second.
I have Mrs. Dowdleberger as first and Mrs. Gray as second. Any discussion?
I would have the same concerns. This is a $491,000 plus job, which a out-of-town contractor is bidding to us through a co-op. I understand that, but you know, that's where the $500 hammer came from too, right?
I'm not following.
That's
I'm
all I have.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not following. I don't know how to be clearer.
Just having experienced the winning bidder at a construction group, that means nothing. I mean, if I'm bidding my audio video equipment, I may be the only person that plugs a price into that number. So just because you're in a consortium does not mean you're getting a good price. It means not. It could be nothing. It just depends on who else shows up. So on a project this size, I would think we would, with the staff that we have, with your talent here, that we would entertain local bids and GC the project when it's something fairly straightforward like this, and see if there isn't money to realize in savings for the taxpayer. Thank you.
There have at least been 3 different contractors that have been on site, both with Prodigy and myself, all providing numbers to Prodigy in hopes of getting awarded this project.
Right. So, and obviously, so Prodigy's acting as the GC in this situation, and then they're going to put their markup on the project. They're obviously not in business to just take bids.
If we go out for public bid also, we're going to have architect and engineering fees as part of this, as well as advertisement fees. This typically is a cheaper route to go. It's more affordable and more economical than on a playground project, asphalt project, roofing project, things of that nature that don't have a lot of technical pieces to them, like boiler systems and things of that nature, to where if you don't have to go out for public bid and get architects and engineers involved, and you can have a staff member in-house oversee the project, it's normally to the district's advantage.
Gotcha. All right. And to that, I would just say design build. It's the same thing. Thank you.
Any other discussion? On to roll call, please.
Mrs. Walsh,
No.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Mrs. Dellenberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
I'm just going to say no, and I'm not voting against the project. I'm just simply not in favor of the particular bid process. Thank you.
I'm not against the project. That's the process that we're doing.
All right. Motion passes. On to treasurer's agenda.
Let me get set up. It's turning. There we go. Okay. Hopefully I should be sharing here soon. Good. I'm ready. Okay, so this is my March forecast, or my March treasurer's reports. As you see in the month of March, our tax limit came in like a week earlier than last year, which is nice. So we showed a profit this year. Well, the revenue came in as 32 million. Our expenses were 8.2, so we had a net revenue over expenses of 23 million. But again, this happens kind of twice a year. Once we get our tax settlements in August, and then either late March, which happened this year, or early April, which happened last year. These numbers were in projections with what I had on my 5-year forecast, so I'm happy about that. All the numbers actually, the expenses and the revenues. So I am encouraged by that. And the next month, in May, I'll be doing my 5-year forecast for the board. Receipts, again, as I go through those, as you see, the big receipt this month was, of course, the real estate, and then the personal property tax. They're one and the same. And then we had our state foundation of 3.1 million, and then other revenues also. Most of that is a property tax payment also. It just has to go in that line item. Expenditures, very similar. 72.5% of our expenditures are in personnel, insurance, and retirement. And the other purchase services, a lot of that is our bus contract. Really small other ones other than that. Change for prior year, again, it's a little a little huge because last year in April we got our tax settlement, and this year in March. So those two numbers obviously will show negative next month. But other than that, these numbers are all good. Personnel services a little increase, but that's just wages. Purchase services went up a little bit. Again, busing and special ed cost, but supplies and capital outlay went down. And that is my report for the month of March.
Pardon me. You said something about, I think you were saying foundation.
Yeah.
It was getting messed up here. Foundation and 3%. Could you restate that for me?
The state foundation. Yeah, then go back to the receipts. The state foundation was 3.1 million. Sorry, John. 3.1 million was the state foundation receipts. In the month of March.
Thank you. Thank
Sorry.
you for that.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have a question.
Sure.
What is purchase service? You were saying what was in it, but
Purchase service. That's
know,
a lot of that is any purchase service we have, but like about 600,000 that is the bus contract for this month.
okay.
But it's all purchase service for the whole district.
And then the other stuff is just like our special ed contracts. or
Special ed
something
contracts
like-
is also in that, which is huge. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and other other objects.
Other objects was only 480,000, and that actually is because part of when we get our tax settlement is we have fees, so that was why that increased this month. It'll go back down next month. But that's the auditor fees and other fees when you get your tax settlements.
I have a question. With the state budget, will you be able to do a presentation to us as to so we can understand what's
By May 13th, the next board meeting, or when I do my 5-year forecast, I'm hoping, but treasurers are talking to me. They don't have to have this budget done by June 30th. So when a lot of treasurers do their 5-year forecast in May, it's not going to be done yet. But I will present my 5-year forecast on the best information I have at the time.
okay.
But yes.
So I won't be here, so I'll
Sorry. But yeah,
I'll get it
so
when we get back.
but
I
I'll
guess.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm just really kind of concerned about what I was reading. It was showing up 900,000 one year, but then down 700 the next.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So it was kind of confusing.
Yeah, the house came out a little bit better for us. It was up almost like $1 million, but then we do 750 next year. So
Yeah.
again, over a 2-year period, the district's supposed to work on only a 250,000 increase over 2 years from what we're making this year, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to the meeting. Number 2. I have a motion. The treasurer recommends Groveport Madison Local Board of Education approve the master service agreement with Meta, and this is just we've used them for years. This is just our payroll system and our accounts payable and accounts receivable system. This is an annual contract.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have Mrs. Gray as first, Mrs. Dowdleberger as second. Any discussion?
I'm having a real hard time hearing where we're at. I'm sorry.
Number 2, the treasurer's reports. It's the yearly contract with Meta.
Thank you.
No problem.
What's the? I know I saw what it is per student. I was just curious
It's
what
20
it was
like
last year.
They went up a small increase. It wasn't a whole lot.
Okay.
And you said this is basically your payroll
Yeah.
system.
Payroll system, accounts, how we do checks, right? Accounts receivable system. Yeah. This is our
It's the software.
software. Yeah.
All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Walsh,
Aye.
Mrs. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Duddelberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to board member comments and/or special announcements and other business.
Yeah, I would. I have a couple. One, if I could, I would like a a copy of the engagement letter for the investigator. Also, great meeting. I appreciate you splitting the meeting up into two parts. I think it was so informative and really, really good what happened here today. A lot to celebrate and a good focus on the music. When it comes to this contract with the transportation, if the board president wouldn't mind, I would suggest that we check with council, whether it be the prosecutor's office or whatever council he chooses, to make sure that we can do 2x2 meetings, not enter into round robin where the contract is concerned. And also, this contract was put out as attorney-client privilege, but this is not a bid process. So I'm not sure that stamping it attorney-client privilege when we're simply negotiating a contract with an existing vendor that actually applies. I see a lot of times when we get things that are, I got a letter addressed to me from one of our board attorneys that said attorney-client privilege, and it was coming directly at me over a resolution that was in the past that we all agreed on. And so I would say I wouldn't pay that attorney to represent me if I had $1 million. And we are, so in some cases, I believe, not properly applying attorney-client privilege. I am not personally represented by a board attorney, so I don't want intimidated with letters that say it's attorney-client privilege directly at me, and I don't want us to cross any lines where we're not in a bid process and there may not be any privilege, and where maybe these conversations need to be happening in the open because we're not in a competitive bid process. So I just appreciate your diligence to make sure we stay out of the weeds with that. So thank you.
Certainly, I can follow up with that.
I just had a comment that we had talked at the last board meeting that we would have a consent agenda, and we did not have a consent agenda. Time we went through every single vote. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good point.
And we voted on it was it for everything on the
consent agenda, and then they would be able to pull out any particular items that needed to be voted separately.
Yep, we can do that moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the comments were basically, I don't think we'll have a problem with the consent agenda as long as we're not bringing forward new and unusual things and lumping them in with standard items, right? Like all these individual trips, etc. I think where things get pulled out is when there's an important conversation about one particular item. So I think if we keep it generic, we can move forward in good time like we did today. So I appreciate it again. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment. Adam, you said the next meeting's in May, but actually I got an email saying the next meeting, a special meeting on 4/23 has been scheduled.
Yes.
Which is a Wednesday, and our typical day is on a Tuesday. As I've stated repeatedly, and in response to your request, Wednesdays I have classes. I won't be able to attend that meeting.
Okay.
Just
And
saying.
I know that we did switch all of our regular meetings from Wednesday to Tuesdays, and trying to accommodate everyone's schedule. That Wednesday seemed to work out the best. Any other comments? All right, on to adjournment.
So moved.
Who was that?
All right,
I'll
Mrs.
take
Gray
second
is
this time.
first, Mrs. Dowdleberger is second.
Great first. All right, Mrs. Walsh,
Yes, please.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Bauer,
Aye.
Ms. Dotterberger,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
It is 9:45 and we are adjourned.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.